Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're thinking about moving to Charlotte, North Carolina, or maybe you already live in Charlotte and it's time for an upgrade, this video is a must watch. We're diving deep into Myers Park, one of the most historic, beautiful, and let's be honest, exclusive neighborhoods here in Charlotte. From century-old oak trees to million-dollar estates, I'm breaking down the true pros and cons so you can decide if Myers Park is worth the hype. Stick around to the very end because I'm going to share with you while despite a few downsides, most residents will tell you that this is the best place in Charlotte to live if you want history, walkability, and a lifestyle that, let's face it, feels like stepping into a Southern storybook. If you're interested in knowing about everything Charlotte, North Carolina, the ins, the outs, the good and the bad, and everything in between, including South Carolina, you have come to the right channel. Be sure to go ahead and hit that subscribe button and be the first to know about all upcoming changes coming to the Charlotte region. I'm 𝗖𝗁 𝗀𝗁, your Charlotte, North Carolina real estate expert. And every single day, we get calls, texts, emails, Zoom invites from people just like you, looking to move to the Charlotte, North Carolina area. So if that's you, be sure to drop down into the description below. All of our contact information is there, whether you're moving in 9 days or 90 days, across the country, across the world, or just across town. We're here to make your move everything you want it to be. So what is Myers Park? Well, let me give you a little bit of quick history on Myers Park and why it has become one of the most sought out neighborhoods in Charlotte, as well as one of the most exclusive. This neighborhood was actually developed and named after John Spring Myers, the developer, which was back in the early 1900s. Now, the design for this neighborhood started with George Stevens and John Nolan, and it was developed as one of the first streetcar suburbs in Charlotte. That's right, there were streetcars in Charlotte, and in fact, the streetcar system that was installed in Charlotte more recently in the past few years was actually because of the rich history of the streetcar here in Charlotte originally. Now, this original streetcar route went all the way down Queens Road and into what is now Uptown Charlotte. Now, while the streetcars today don't go anywhere near Queens or Kings Road, you will see them down in Elizabeth and out to the west side of Uptown. Now, there's no plans for that to expand, but it is a very helpful public transportation even today. Now, Myers Park was dubbed a historic district back in 1987. While some folks love this and some are not a fan, it definitely makes sure that the Myers Park neighborhood stays true to the historic nature and beautiful architecture as it always had, that beautiful Southern charm. Now, with that architecture, there's a few styles that you're gonna notice fairly regularly. You've got, of course, your Tudor Revival, your Colonial Revival, and your Bungalow and Craftsman, my two favorites personally. With such a rich Charlotte history, you'd probably think there's a lot of positives and probably still some negatives of this area, and you'd be right. So let's dive into the top pros and cons of living in Myers Park. So let's jump into our first pro: historically high real estate values. That's right, the Myers Park area will pull easily $1.5 million as an average sales price in this neighborhood. That's pretty substantial. Now, many of the homes in this neighborhood have sold for $4 million or more, but with an average of 1.5, you don't have your average Joe being able to access this neighborhood. That's a part of what makes Myers Park so exclusive, is not everybody can purchase a house here. Over the last 10 years, we've seen a 60 to 70% appreciation of home value. Now, some of that is inflated due to, of course, COVID days when everything was exploding, but a 60 to 70% growth rate in just one neighborhood is absolutely bonkers. Now, what we are seeing for growth now in a more normal time is about 6%, and this matches up with pre-COVID numbers as well. Charlotte as a whole actually does increase about 6 to 8% year over year on average over the last 15 years, aside from 2020 and 2021. Let's just face it. Even at 6 to 7% growth every year, you're going to have substantial increase in the value of your home. Now, part of this growth does have to do with some new construction homes, but many of these homes are dubbed historic, and a lot of them are just being renovated to become more modernized. Of course, with renovations comes much higher sales prices, so you are seeing larger percentages of growth due to these changes. The next major positive of being in Myers Park, the schools. The education system in the Myers Park district are absolutely exceptional. From the elementary school, which is Selwyn Elementary, rated at a 9 out of 10, to even middle school, which, let's face it, no one loves middle school, but even the middle school has high ratings. Alexander Graham Middle is an 8 out of 10, and then that takes us to high school. Myers Park High, along with many of the other schools in this region, are rated quite high at a 9 out of 10. Now, as a whole, while the public school system in this area is exceptional, there's also a lot of private school options. Two of the top tier private schools are actually right over in this area. They are Charlotte Country Day and Providence Day. Now, both of these schools boast a hefty tuition between $25,000 to $35,000. Definitely check with the school yourself. So a lot of families do choose to just move into a great area and send their kids to public school. But if you want the extra push, there are other options. Now, this takes us to our first con or negative about Myers Park. The first major negative has got to be the cost of living. Let's face it, if you're in a neighborhood where the average home is $1.5 million, not only is the actual mortgage on your home, especially with wherever interest rates are at that time when you secure the property, those are going to be hefty payments. In addition to that, you're going to have higher taxes. Now, the tax rate in Myers Park is not higher than anywhere else. However, the tax is going to be based upon your tax value of your home. Fun fact, your tax value does not change when you purchase the home. So if you purchase today, but the tax value is still $200,000 less on the county's records and the city's records, that's what you're taxed on, not the sales price. Kind of cool. In addition to that, while Charlotte and the surrounding areas do reassess every 5 to 7 years, it doesn't necessarily mean that the value is actually going to come up, tax value, up to where you last paid. The assessor's going to do their work, and you have the opportunity to go ahead and battle that if you don't like what your tax value is, although we can't promise that it's going to come down. With fewer affordable options, you're going to notice that the homes in this area are going to be of a certain stature, and there's going to be limited availability for people to actually have access. Now, with all that being said though, while it is more exclusive and of course the cost of living is higher, it is very rare to see a house just sitting if it's listed in Myers Park, because people scoop them up. It's exactly where they want to be, and they've probably waited for a month, if not years, for the perfect house to hit the market. Now, another major pro of living in Myers Park, it's got to be the abundant parks and outdoor activities. That's right, Myers Park is located right next to Freedom Park, the actual park. This beautiful 98-acre park is lush with trees and green spaces, an amphitheater, walking trails, lakes, water fountains, waterfalls, playgrounds, an actual steam engine, non-operational, and more. It's probably one of the most popular and one of the most beautiful parks in Charlotte. Now, while Charlotte is known for its parks and its beautiful canopy of trees, we're known as the Tree City, this park is so easily accessible from Myers Park. Now, in addition to Freedom Park, you also have the Little Sugar Creek Greenway. Now, this greenway runs all the way down from Optimus, down around, scooting around Uptown, down in through Freedom Park and to the south side of Charlotte. That's right, it is one of our longest routes of greenways. Now, with our greenway system, I did a great video on this just a few weeks ago. We have one of the largest systems in the US. Now, with that being said, this is why people love to get out. It's so easy to access spaces like this, so you don't just have to walk down the sidewalk. In addition, you have the Booty Loop, which is a 2.9-mile loop for exercise, and you have the Winghaven Garden. Now, aside from that, it's just gorgeous to walk down the street. This neighborhood has streets with sidewalks. That's right, not all neighborhoods have this, but due to the nature of the neighborhood, there are sidewalks on both sides in many of the areas of Myers Park. This makes walkability and getting out to go ride your bike or play with the kids or walk your dog very feasible. Now, another major positive of this neighborhood, easy commute times. That's right, the proximity to everything makes this a key differentiator when looking at this neighborhood versus other ones. Myers Park is just 10 minutes from Uptown. That's right, 10 minutes. So if you're commuting for work, this is gonna be one of the easiest commutes you'll make. But wait, there's more. Our second largest business park in Charlotte is in SouthPark. That's right, and how far is it? Just 10 minutes. This area of Myers Park sits directly between Uptown and SouthPark, making it super easy to commute. Now, in addition to that, it's also just 20 minutes from the airport, and it's in walking distance to Queens and Selwyn. Name another area that gives you all of those benefits, plus the parks and the Greenway. There's very few. Let's face it, Myers Park is it. So what's the negative of all this amazing proximity? Well, you're gonna hit some traffic. That's right. There are some major bottlenecks on the roads into and around Myers Park. Now, the reason for this is because, of course, these are older roads and there's not really room for expansion. Now, for all of my native New Yorkers out there, you understand this. There's only so much expansion you can do on roads. And trust me, it's not anywhere near as bad as New York. We don't have that kind of population, nor do we have that many people commuting through Myers Park. In fact, it's mostly folks that are living in Myers Park or just south of it that are commuting into SouthPark or up into Uptown. So are you gonna find some bottlenecks right around rush hour traffic? Yeah, but is it something that you're gonna find all day long? No, absolutely not. Now, the other bottleneck that you may find or slow down from congestion and traffic is if there are major events going on in town. Now, you could probably assume things like the 4th of July with a parade, or if there's perhaps the symphony playing down in SouthPark and there's extra people on the road, this could be something that you hit. But again, it's not an everyday thing, so it's not something you're gonna run into on a daily basis. The proximity, not only from, of course, commutes, but I didn't mention grocery stores, shopping, the mall, easy access to the interstates. All of this is available via Myers Park. So it's worth a little bit of slowdown every now and then. Another pro of Myers Park is that this is a fairly educated and affluent community. There are a few neighborhoods in Charlotte that are exceptionally affluent, and this is one of them if you hadn't already guessed. The median household income is over or about $180,000 per year. Some of the most common careers that you're going to find in Myers Park include finance, of course. It's the second biggest banking capital in the United States, law, as well as healthcare. Healthcare is one of the largest industries in Charlotte as well, behind finance. So it's no guess as to why this is a hub for the healthcare industry and those that work in it. In fact, Myers Park is only 7 to 10 minutes from two of the largest hospitals here in Charlotte with a level 1 trauma center. That's going to include Atrium and Novant. Now, in addition to that, over 75% of the population in Myers Park are college educated. Now, not everybody needs college. I don't think I use anything from college. But that being said, when we're looking at an affluent area, that is a part of that affluency rating. And when you have over 75% who've gone to college, you're usually going to see people who are in higher professions in law, finance, healthcare, and many C-suites here in the Charlotte region. Now, in addition to, of course, it being an affluent area, you also have upscale amenities in this area, such as shopping and dining. Myers Park has proximity to some beautiful high-end dining and really cute boutique shops. With an easy, short 10-minute drive to the Mint Museum or perhaps taking in the theater in Uptown, the Myers Park area also has its own community and social events. Now, one of the major downsides to the Myers Park area, I know, there's not many of them. Have you picked them out? They're like this big. Well, one of the bigger things here are there's a lot of restrictions on renovation. That's right, because this is deemed a historic district, there are specific restrictions that you have to follow. This includes paint color and whether or not you can add on a front porch. There's quite a few restrictions that I won't run through, but what I will say is if you're keeping the home relatively the same as to what you currently have, or you're making it a more historic look, they're going to lean into it and the historic department will go ahead and check the box. However, the permitting on this can take forever. That's right, the permitting is part of what slows it down because if you submit it and they don't approve, you are back to square one. So it's best to work with a contractor that has worked in this area and already can guide you on what they will and will not approve. Now, yes, the world is your oyster, and the amount of variety of homes and designs that are there are certainly so much to choose from. With some new construction as well, you can see that it's not as restrictive as you might think, but there are some things that they are sticklers about. So be sure to hire someone that knows what they're doing. Now, one of the biggest things for me and one of the major pros of the Myers Park area has to be the strong community connection. There is so much pride that comes with people that live in Myers Park, and it's no question why. It's a beautiful place to live. You may notice in this area that there's a lot of generational residents. Folks that grew up there, bought a home there, their kids will probably grow up and buy a home there. It's just such a wonderful community that people don't want to leave. This is also part of the reason why when a house comes on the market, it's gone, because folks have probably waited forever to get into that neighborhood, especially for the right price. The other part of it is pride in preservation of the neighborhood itself. Folks want to keep it kept up. They have pride in their home, pride in how their neighborhood looks, and that goes a long way. In addition to this, there's also a very active neighborhood association. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, an active neighborhood association means that they're putting together social events, people are gathering, there's a bulletin that goes out. Everyone knows everyone. Well, there's still a pretty good sense of privacy, but if you want to be a part of something, you are definitely welcomed to do so, especially as a member of the community. And that's something that's lacking in many areas of the country. Yesterday, today, and probably in the future. So to find a neighborhood that does this on a big scale is pretty cool. And another major pro is this is an incredible investment. That's right, the investment stability in the Myers Park area is obviously there. Now, we talked about the numbers and how it's consistently increasing in value, but the fact that there's limited inventory and homes not coming to market all that often, this is actually restricting and making it an even higher demand. That's right, supply and demand. The demand is there, the supply is low, which means you're going to consistently see higher and higher sales prices in the Myers Park area. So if you're looking for a place that you can invest your dollar, also love where you live, this may be the perfect neighborhood. So here's the thing. Even with higher costs, higher priced houses, some bottlenecks every now and then, and restrictions on doing renovations, people still love Myers Park. Walkable historic character, incredible schools, strong long-term property values, and above all else, a small town feel and community just minutes from Uptown Charlotte. With all of this in consideration, I think it's pretty clear to see why Myers Park is one of the #1 best neighborhoods to live in Charlotte, North Carolina. I hope you got a ton of value out of this video, and if you've got more questions, drop them into the comments below. I do get in there and answer all of them. And if you haven't already, click that subscribe button. Be the first to know about all the upcoming changes coming to the Charlotte area. And as I mentioned earlier, every single day we get calls, texts, emails, Zoom invites from people who are just like you, who are looking to move to the Charlotte, North Carolina area or upstate of South Carolina. So if that's you, drop down into that description below. All of our contact information is there, whether you're moving in 9 days or 90 days across the world, across the country, or maybe even just across town. We're here to make your move everything you want it to be. Until next time, I look forward to showing you around town. Videos that you can be watching, like this one right here, or maybe even this one. Really either one of these, but honestly, watch both of them because they're going to help you make the move. Go ahead, pick one.